Before we get in the video, please like, make sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications, go ahead and leave a comment below, and click on the how you can help, which brings up the Family Friendly Game website and gives you lots of ideas how you can help us. Thank you. Paul Berry, Family Friendly Gaming, and this is FFG Chronicles on abuse of power in gaming. This is a topic that is kind of near and dear to my heart personally. It bothers me greatly in the video game industry that there is such abuse of power, and I don't know why it keeps happening. Before going longer, court is in session. All right. I don't understand why some people feel they should abuse their power, and there are so many examples. There's all the stuff that happened in Gamersgate, and people, that lady giving favors. I guess I shouldn't say lady. I said that woman giving favors to get higher review scores, and then the justification by the corrupt media was, well, you're anti-woman. Trying to help a woman, get success. Well, I mean, she was giving you certain favors for those high scores, so it's kind of like no, it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with you, abusing your position of authority and power. We see the same thing with a variety of video game companies or PR and marketing firms that, fail Family Friendly Gaming universe. I don't know why they do this. That we write one thing they don't like. You might have 10 years of letting them have their way, and then you write one thing they don't like, and all of a sudden they blacklist you. And there's no appeals process. There's no kind of like, oh, you can go, hey, let's talk about this, and they're just like, nope. They're like, we're going to pretend like you never exist. We're going to do the ostrich head in the sand thing because we're so professional and mature. And you're like, yeah, kind of the opposite is how you're all behaving, honestly. But you got that example. You've got, I think, other examples of abuse of power in gaming. What else was there? There was the, how the companies act with the control freak nature, that they have to control everything. They sit there and change the licensing agreement to say you're just buying a kind of not a copy of the game, but you're buying you're renting a license to use their property, and it always stays their property, and you can't ever sell it or give it away or anything without their permission. It's like, oh, good grief, come on. Y'all are such power hungry. It just blows my mind that they act that way. They're like, oh yeah, we're in control of everything, and you're not. There was an example of EA flying a bunch of IGN editors out to see one of their games. Of course, then they got this glowing coverage of the product. You're like, it's kind of abusing the thing there, and it gets difficult to kind of figure out where this lies in response to companies having partnerships, companies that are helping one another out. And one thing that kind of bothers me is a lot of the video game media has decided that, they're just going to succumb to whatever the video game companies request or ask of them, because they're like, it'll behoove them. There's abuse of power where certain reviewers had their review scores changed, or they got fired from places because their reviews didn't go along with what the company wanted. And so then higher ups at the media outlet, are like, oh, let's just get rid of this person because they're not going to help us make money. And that's what their whole goal is. They're just trying to, make the money. And then they're like, oh, whoops. So then they have no integrity, and people are like, well, we don't trust your reviews or trust anything you do. And it's sad because a lot of the video game media outlets have lost the trust of a lot of the readers, the viewers, because they're so corrupt in the bank for these companies. You can't trust anything they say or do, you know. And so I can even give examples I run into. So I remember I was on a bus, a shuttle, going to and fro E3 in the hotel, one of the hotels that the ESA had recommended. I went to one of those, so you got the shuttle back and forth. And these two guys that were from different media outlets were talking about how they bought off someone in PR and marketing to get a reviewable copy. Literally, they paid them off. Like, yeah, I bought him some beers. We went to this one bar and I bought him some beers, and then, he got us a reviewable copy because of that. And we weren't, our media outlet was too small to get one. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of corrupt. Versus those of us who have put the work in, have all the viewers, have all the readers, have done the hard work, done multiple coverage items, and our reviewable copy goes to someone who bought you off, literally, that kind of stuff went off. I also heard at E3 in one of the media rooms, we have this media area, and only media can get in. You have to have a media badge to get into this room, and they were sitting there talking about how people were offering sexual favors to them to get coverage, going right back to Gamersgate. And this was like many, many years after Gamersgate. And so you're like, good grief, that this is going on, that this kind of corruption and just muck and mire and swamp is going on in the video game industry. It's absolutely disgusting, It's one thing, you got people who are a little too frenzy, a little too close to friends, and it's like, oh, how's your daughter like that bike I bought you, and yeah, we're gonna make sure we get you an exclusive interview. Those get questionable. I know a lot of people are like, well, that's definitely corruption. It gets questionable when they're really close and friends. I think it should be kept on a professional level, but I'm obviously not in charge, and I'm not in control of that. I know God's provided for us, and so the companies that blacklisted us, we're able to sit there and just go buy the games, no problem. God's provided the finances, so that's really cool. Anyway, so definitely leave comments below. The whole abuse of power in gaming is a very broad, huge topic, and I just kind of lightly touched on the top of this glacier. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.